Hello, and welcome to 10 for 10, 10th News, your weekly dose of 10th Amendment news in 10 minutes or so from the 10th Amendment Center. Today is April 7th, 2013. My name is Michael Bolden. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we'll cover nullification bills getting passed in Kansas, Arizona, and Missouri, plus some important hearings and votes coming up this week in California, South Carolina, and Illinois. But first, this week's episode is made possible in part by the 10th Amendment Center membership program. Proudly wear the 10ther label with pride and become a card-carrying member of us here at the 10th Amendment Center. Your membership support helps us continue the pressure. It helps us cover our base expenses each month, and it helps us reach new people through advertising and direct outreach. Get all the details and join us today at members.10thamendmentcenter.com. And now the news. Late into the night last Friday, the Kansas State Legislature was debating its final bills before the close of the 2013 legislative session. The final vote of the year was on Senate Bill 102, formerly House Bill 2199. Both the House and the State Senate gave final approval to the Second Amendment Protection Act, and the bill will now go to Governor Brownback's desk for a signature. The House passed the bill by a vote of 96 to 24, and the Senate voted 35 to 4. During the Senate vote, one senator proclaimed, quote, "Passage of SB 102 means that the Second and 10th Amendments are alive and well in Kansas," end quote. If Brownback signs it into law, SB 102 would nullify a wide range of federal attacks on the right to keep and bear arms in the state of Kansas. It reads in part, quote, "Any act, law, treaty, order, rule, or regulation of the government of the United States which violates the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is null, void, and unenforceable in the state of Kansas," end quote. Governor Brownback will have 10 days to sign or veto the bill after transmittal, which is expected to happen as early as Monday. With a veto-proof majority and strong grassroots support, the governor will be in a difficult position on this bill, as major national forces are expected to pressure him to oppose it. For more details on this nullification bill passing in Kansas, visit 10thamendmentcenter.com/Kansas102. Again, that's 10thamendmentcenter.com/Kansas102. In Arizona, the State House passed HB 2573 last Thursday. By a tally of 34 to 24, they voted to nullify NDAA indefinite detention and Agenda 21 in the same bill. HB 2573 forbids any state or local cooperation with NDAA indefinite detention. As Judge Andrew Napolitano has said on Fox News recently, widespread noncompliance like this by a state can make a federal law, quote, "nearly impossible to enforce," end quote. During the final House debates in Arizona, bill sponsor Representative Carl Seal proposed an amendment to also include language blocking state and local cooperation with Agenda 21. This caused some partisan divide in the State House, but they still approved it. And in Missouri last Thursday, the State House voted to place severe limitations on the use of drones in that state. House Bill 46, introduced by Representative Casey Guernsey, came up for a third and final reading and vote on April 4th. It passed by a surprisingly close vote of 87 to 66. It now goes to the State Senate for concurrence. If signed into law, HB 46 would ban drone surveillance without a warrant or without the permission of the person or property owner being surveilled. While the bill does leave a few small openings for drone use in emergency situations where life is in imminent danger or by state-run universities for research, the vast majority of potential drone use in the state would be eliminated under this bill. Passage of HB 46 in Missouri would put a huge dent in federal plans to convince that state to set up a network of spy drones. And coming this week, a number of big nullification bills are up for hearings and votes. First, in South Carolina, H. 3101, H. 3101 that is, which is a bill to nullify Obamacare, will get a hearing and likely vote in the House Judiciary Committee. It recently passed out of a subcommittee and faces a tough but winnable road in the full Judiciary Committee. The bill reads in part, quote, "The General Assembly declares that the federal law known as the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, signed by President Barack Obama on March 23, 2010, is not authorized by the Constitution of the United States and violates its true meaning and intent as given by the founders and ratifiers, and is invalid in this state, is not recognized by this state, is specifically rejected by this state, and is null and void and of no effect in this state." End quote. The bill also provides for essential teeth, an enforcement mechanism codified in law to prevent the enforcement of the unconstitutional federal act within the state of South Carolina. It continues, quote, "It is the duty of the General Assembly to adopt and enact all measures as may be necessary to prevent the enforcement of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act within the limits of this state." End quote. No such bill, nothing even close, has been passed by any state in modern American history after the Supreme Court gave their opinion on the constitutionality of a federal act. This is an historic bill with massive implications nationally. For more details on what you can do to help H. 3101 go forward in South Carolina, visit 10thamendmentcenter.com/support H3101. Again, that's 10thamendmentcenter.com/support H3101. Please share that information as widely as possible. In Illinois on Wednesday, SB 1587 will get a third and final reading and vote in the state Senate. The legislation is similar to Missouri's HB 46 and would ban warrantless drone spying within the state. It previously passed the State Senate Committee on Criminal Law with a 7-2 vote, and inside sources tell us that it's going to be a close vote this week. And closing today, in Sacramento, California on Tuesday, the State Assembly Public Safety Committee will have a hearing and vote on Assembly Bill 351. If passed into law, AB 351 would ban compliance or enforcement of NDAA indefinite detention. The bill reads in part, quote, "Sections 1021 and 1022 of the NDAA codifies indefinite military detention without charge or trial of civilians captured far from any battlefield, violating the United States Constitution and corroding our nation's commitment to the rule of law. It is the policy of this state to refuse to provide material support for or to participate in any way with the implementation within this state of any federal law that purports to authorize indefinite detention of a person within California." End quote. Passage of this bill would make a huge dent in any effort to further restrict due process and would be a big step forward for the state. Passage in California could send shockwaves around the rest of the country, encouraging other blue states to follow their lead. And that covers our report here today on 10 for 10, 10th News. Get 10 minutes or so of 10th Amendment news every single week from us here at the 10th Amendment Center. Watch 10th News every week on youtube.com/10th Amendment Center. View archive shows at news.10thamendmentcenter.com. My name is Michael Bolden. Thanks again for tuning in.